behind the day, but that is only because of small technical difficulties in the background. We're always improving, we're always working towards better, right? I thank everybody who's here with me, and we're just gonna do some amazing things today, man. We're gonna do some amazing things today. So, if you are here, let me know your experience thus far. What has been your experience thus far? Are you getting any benefit from these lives? Are you learning more about communication? Do you, what is it that you want to learn more about within communication? Um, it's been awesome for myself and for those that I've been able to personally talk to and connect with. It's been awesome. Still going through things in the background. Interesting. Nonetheless, yes, we have been talking about communication this week, and it's been pivotal, it's been powerful. Um, and as I mentioned, every segment, every topic that we touch on within this realm of communication is a practice for all of these things. And you got to combine these things. These things put together will create the effective communication. So listening to understand, having empathy within the communication, right? Nonverbal, verbal communication, facial expressions, gestures, right? And now we're gonna talk about. We had talked about your tonality, and how to use your voice, right? Instead of just a blanket tone. No, we talked about using your voice, different frequencies, different pitches, what can convey what message, how to punctuate something, right? Now, today, what we're going to talk about is your word choice. Your word choice. Choose your words carefully. Your words, what I told y'all yesterday in the Bible, it says, the sword, no, the tongue, excuse me, the sword of the Lord is the tongue. Your words is your greatest weapon in your arsenal. What you say holds way more power. They say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt. Disagree. You got people who are still internally scarred from somebody said to them years ago, decades ago. You got people who stopped living based off of what somebody said. You got people who committed suicide behind what somebody said, right? You got people who killed behind what somebody said. Most mishaps stem from miscommunication. So I believe words hurt way worse than sticks and stones. Give me the sticks and stones, baby. I could take a few pebbles. I could take a few branches. I remember them twigs, right? Sticks and stones does less damage than words. Words will forever hurt more. But they also hold that same type of power to uplift, inspire, change the trajectory of your own and someone else's life. When you start changing how you speak, this is why affirmations have become so pivotal for a lot of people. If you use affirmations, because again, you speak things into existence, right? You speak things into existence. So with you speaking, with you saying certain words, The mind is the victim to the monster of repetition. Affirmations work because after you claim I am something repeatedly, then your mind has no choice but to believe it. And when you believe you are, you act as is. And when you act as is, you get the result. The action gets the results. But where did it start? Speaking. That affirmation. That affirmation led you to believe that you could, so you did. Words hold so much power. So you have to choose your words carefully. Have you ever have you ever told somebody, "Watch what you say to me"? I know I have. I do it like almost all the time. You better watch what you say to me. Watch what you say to me. Check your tone when you're talking to me. Check your tone when you're talking to me. Okay? I don't know who you think you're talking to. Right? It's funny. We not in those situations right now. It's funny, but for real, like certain words have an effect. And when you combine them with the tonality, if you punctuate a curse word at someone, you meant it. Now it's time to take it offensive. What? Because you meant that. You even look at kids when they like start babbling and stuff and they don't have no words, but they'll "Doo, doo, doo, doo." Like, girl, you said what? Like it's funny, but it's real. It's like, yo, word choice, tonality completes the intention of what's being said, right? So say what you mean what you say, but watch your words. Choose your words carefully, right? And this is like this is one of the main things that I really had to practice on, right? There's so many words. I learned this from I got more clarity on this from my senior, Mr. Robert Utley. He said there's so many words in the English language, right? Which we speak. There's so many words that have multiple meanings or can mean something similar. Like we have way more words. That's why learning English is like one of the biggest challenges or one of the hardest languages to learn because we have so many unnecessary words. We have so many words that can mean or change the meaning of everything, right? Like that just changed the whole sentence. It just changed the tone, right? That just changed everything. Like you just used the wrong word. I did it the other day. I think I told y'all when my wife was like, "Why you out there laughing and stuff on the phone?" I said, "I'm only talking to one person because it's acceptable." That word acceptable made it like, okay, so who are you talking to outside of the home? And it's like, no, that's not the right word. Like what I meant was this is somebody who I have a lighter boundary with because of this person. So I'm more comfortable talking to this person at a different hour. Everybody else got a stronger boundary. I know I'm going to laugh and joke with this person. So yeah, I welcome this. I welcome this conversation. That's what I meant by acceptable, but it just is the wrong word. So it's like, oh, so you talking to whoever else outside? Like, chill, chill. It's nothing like that. But wording, choose your words carefully, man. Words can, I think words Hmm. I don't know if it causes more, but let me just cap on this. Words cause trauma. You remember what somebody said to you, especially if they meant something to you. You remember if a parent doesn't believe in you or encourages you to not or to conform or whatever, that sticks with you. Yeah, whole adults is like, well, my mama never believed in me, so and it's not that I'm pretty sure moms didn't not believe in you, just wanted to protect you, but you know, words, you didn't convey that message well if you say you gonna fail versus if you say I don't want you to fail versus I look forward to you succeeding, right? You projected the fear instead of the faith. So the person with your word choice couldn't do nothing but expect or see that you don't support me. You think I'm gonna fail. I don't want you to fail, baby. I don't want you to get hurt. You just conveyed the message of fear, right? And it's funny. We when I say choose your words carefully, right? That can get misconstrued because most of us, I told you we have a pessimistic point of view of realism, right? Most realists are pessimistic. And like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with telling the truth. And I'm not telling you to be timid or sensitive or dance around your wording, but you can tell the truth without being offensive. You can tell the truth without being an asshole. You can tell the truth, and the truth gonna be the truth. Like if that person take it a certain way or it did hit their sensitivity, it's okay. But still, what words did you choose? How did you deliver the truth? How did you deliver the message? I can be completely blunt, right? I can I've been one to completely disregard emotion, sensitivity, and just say it. Just say the truth. Just say what needs to be said. And within that, I've learned like, okay, for me, in that moment, do I just want to be the one saying, do I just want to highlight me saying what I believe to be the truth? Do I just want to highlight me being, again, it goes into a competitive mentality. Do I just want to be the victor here? Or do I want for this person to be able to accept the truth and do something about it, right? In this type of situation, this type of scenario. So it's like, how do I convey this message to get this type of result? When I'm still am, but when I disregard emotion, when I am bluntly honest to the point where I know this is going to hurt, right? When I completely disregard emotion and all of that stuff, I'm usually not the one who got to deal with the consequences. I'm usually not the one who got to continuously see or hear from this person. Uh I'm usually so outside of it that it don't have no effect on me, right? So I can throw all caution to the wind. I can use whatever words to say whatever because it's not going to come back to me. That was my only part in the communication. And a lot of us put ourselves in that predicament. Like you want to tell the brutal, honest truth, knowing it'll hurt somebody because you're not the one that's going to feel anything. You're not the one that's got to face any repercussion of it. So it's more so a solo or single ideology. You thinking of yourself. You thinking of yourself doing or saying the right thing, which is not bad. But we empathy and communication. We also can take into consideration of not just how someone else is going to feel, but what is their reaction going to be. Like the truth, no matter how delivered, if it's the truth and it's the hard truth, it's going to be hard anyway. So I don't have to add harshness and be brash to convey this message. I don't have to. The truth is going to do that anyway. So I don't have to take a harsh approach, right? I learned a lot about this through experience. I've made a lot of people cry. I've hurt loved ones. I've caused separation, right? I've done I've done this and gotten the results that I don't want. So me as a caring person, me as a communal driven person, I want you to be able to get the truth, accept the truth, understand the truth, and then do something with the truth. I don't just want to hurt you. I don't just want to shatter your thinking. I don't just want to be the victor, right? And I say all of that to say that's where I had to work on my word choice. Choosing certain words can convey this message. What words can I use to convey this message, right? And another thing about the truth is only hard when you don't want to accept it. The truth is only hard when you don't want to accept it, right? We look at like a breakup, we look at like a death, a separation of some sort. We don't want to accept that. So it hurts, right? It hurts deep internally. We don't usually want to accept that. These are why truths can be harsh. That's the harsh truth. But on top of that, if you was to go break up with somebody, you know what I'm saying, that truth of the matter is y'all separating, but you don't have to say, it's, like, fuck you, I'm leaving. It don't have to be that. It could be, listen, we're not working for each other. Same message, different words, same truth, same harshness, same reality, different words. And with those words being changed, it's more acceptable or more capable of being accepted, right? It actually it actually it actually does what it's supposed to do. It's less trauma inducing, right? So when you focus on your word choice, you'll start looking at what words do I use for this situation? What words can I use to convey this message? What words? And there's so many of them. And so many of them have multiple meanings. So many of them sound the same, but used in the context is completely different. There, right? So many of them in our English language have different meanings and it could be the same word. So choose your words carefully, right? A lot of us, and I've been one, I mean, words, you got to think about like how important words are. that they have made a book of words. You think about it, every book is a book of words. But they made a book of words, a dictionary, right? I have been I love that portion of English because I love learning new words. I love communication. I love being able to say something without saying the same thing as everybody else, right? A little egotistic, but I love being the one to use a word and they're like, what that mean? Let me educate you real quick. I've been one to like I do like that, uh, and I've harbored on that before, but again, that's egotistic. Uh, so I encourage learning or expanding your vocabulary. I'm gonna make 2 points here. I encourage learning and expanding your vocabulary, but I also encourage using the right words for the situation. Again, what is the message you're trying to convey, right? Because trying to use different words with certain groups, you either gonna sound smart or you're gonna sound stupid. You either gonna bring people together or you're gonna separate them. You know, so do you just want to? Going back to that egotistic example, do you just want to be right? Do you want to be the victor? Do you want to sound smarter? Do you want to sound smarter? Because that's what is happening when I was in my egotistic moments. That's what was happening. I want to sound smart, so I'm using profane language, you know, being ostentatious and stuff like that. Like, yo, that's not necessary for this conversation. You kicking it with the homies, and you want to show them, hey, I'm smarter than you. Hey, I know more. I can have different types of conversations. That's cool. All of this came through experience. So I learned like if I really want to convey the message, if I really like, and it's not like the message doesn't have to be of uplifting, encouragement, life changing advice, nothing like that. Like the message could be like, this is funny, this is humorous, you know, whatever it is. Like you're gonna use the right words. That's why I keep on going back to comedians because they hone in on their craft. They're going to use the right words for the right crowd to get the right reaction. I think everybody's is in the uproar of the recent Cat Williams uh, interview with Shay Shay. But that's one of the things he said. He said like his show in Arkansas is not the same as his show in Florida, you know? Like, it's a completely different audience. Same joke, same punchline, different words to convey that message. Now I understand, you know, a lot of people like, man, well, Imma say what Imma say. Whoever gets it, gets it. Mm, again, that's a solo ideology. That's not communal, right? If you could take accountability for yourself in every situation. That goes for your communication. If somebody misunderstands you, why did they misunderstand you? Did they misunderstand you because of your intention, your tone, huh? Your word choice? If it's none of those things, then they misunderstood you on their own parameters. But if it's something that you did, you can improve on, then I say improve on it. Like you don't like you can work on communication. I put the meme up on the on the FMF Instagram page to say, "I'm only responsible for what I say, not for what you understand," which is true. But what you say adds to the comprehension. Can this person understand this? Can this person fathom this using words? That's why when I talk, if I use a word like comprehension, I usually use the next word that means the same thing that more people knows, understand. Can you comprehend this? Can you understand? I just taught you what that meant in that one sentence, you know? So yes, I'm only responsible for what I say, not what you understand, but it's part of my I could take accountability in your understanding if I'm the one saying something. How did I say it? What did I say? What word did I choose? And when you expand your vocabulary, you want to use and you must use what you've learned, or else you're not going to remember it. So this is another practice. I'm giving you guys things that you can actually do. This is another practice, right? I want you to take a word that you may have learned. If you get the dictionary app or dictionary.com, they do a word of the day. And I challenge you to use that word in a sentence. Use that word throughout the day. This will help you hone in your craft of building and expanding your vocabulary. When you start reading, a lot of people don't read because I don't really have a level of reading. Like this is third grade level and stuff like that. I like books from all categories. I like some child books. I read barely school kids books. It's elementary books, right? I like those books as well as the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons, books that's, about as big as a PlayStation. I like books. So I don't really stick to like a reading level, but a lot of people don't read more because they're intimidated that they're not going to know certain words. It's okay. This is one of the ways that you can learn and expand your vocabulary, right? Not only talking to people who have articulate diction, not only talking to people who uses more words, mm, who got a different verbiage, but also reading. When you read and you come across a word that you don't know or don't understand, one, you can look at the context clues to try to figure it out, or you can stop right there and look up the word. You can learn the word right away. Excuse me. You can learn the word right away. So, a lot of people, and you'll see this if you're one, a lot of people who have expanded their vocabulary knows that you don't have to use all of these new words, all of these different words. Tripping right now. You don't have to use all of these different words to convey the message. Keep it simple, right? If you want to have like a battle of wits, so everybody's using, I know this word, I know this word type of conversation, that could be entertaining for that type of crowd. But most of the time, keep it simple. That's another thing about the truth. If you can't explain it simply, then you don't know it. The truth is actually usually quite simple. If it has a whole lot of loops and a whole lot of turns, then it's not true, right? It's a story in there. You're lying. It's a falsehood somewhere to make yourself look better or to change the situation or change the narrative or persuade you to think a certain way or all of that. Like the truth is always quite simple. And if you can't explain it simply, then you don't know it well enough. If you can't explain it simply, you don't know it well enough, right? Going back to word choice, one of the best things you can do is make it simple. Make it simple. Make it easier to understand. What words do you use to make this message simple and easy to understand? Instead of just trying to sound smart, you are smart. You know words. Good. I started learning more words for when people try to sound smart against me. I know what you're talking about. You just want to be the victor right now. And then I'll come back with something simple, right? And continue the conversation. That usually deads the whole ego of trying to sound smart. Now let's actually talk. And what's interesting is when you try to sound smart with smart people, you usually sound stupid. You usually sound pretty dumb using words that you don't know. I don't want to encourage that though, because I encourage you to talk to somebody with the expanded vocabulary who also has empathy, who doesn't mind, either correcting you or guiding the conversation or teaching you in that moment because I want you to learn and I want you to put these things into practice. I don't want you to focus on how you look or how you sound because a lot of people get in that realm and they wind up just stop talking. So there's no communication happening. I encourage the communication. I don't encourage ego. Like, you don't have to try to sound smart. You are smart. Just talk. You are smart. Just talk. You're smarter than you know. Just talk. Say what came to mind. And that simplicity of what you thought, that is what was needed for the conversation. You don't have to get lost in thought and try so hard to choose words. The words that are needed already came to mind. Use them. Use them, right? It's not a it's not a it's not a 12th grade essay, right? It's not the end of the SAT. It's not, it's not the book that you're writing, even if you're writing a book. How many of us have read a book that was nothing but adjectives? And it's like repeated, repeated, repeated. All of these words to say the same thing just to make the sentence run on, just to make the, just to try to emphasize, oh, my book is however many pages. I get tired of that. Like you said, so much to say one thing. Just say the thing. Overly descriptive. That's for my readers out there. Those types of books get annoying to me. Like, I don't think you actually know what you're talking about. You don't actually know what you're talking about. That's not good writing to me. Using all these words for what? Get to the point. Yes, man. Your word choice combined with the tonality and empathy and nonverbal gestures like your facial expressions and smiling and hand wavering, right? All of these things put together delivers the message. All of these things put together creates effective communication. And most mishaps stem from what? Miscommunication. Most mishaps stem from miscommunication, right? I understand if you don't talk with your hands, but if you got your hands in your pocket and you hunched over and stuff, and you trying to tell somebody uh, something from authority, that authority doesn't sit well. It doesn't bode well. It doesn't do it. It doesn't convey the message. You got your head down, and I think you should. You really need to just tighten up. Nah, you need to tighten up. Back straight, clear voice, vocalized, right? Eye contact, all of that. All of those things together creates the effective communication. So choose your words carefully. Choose your words carefully. What is the intention? What is the result? Think about it. What is the result of this conversation? What do you want out of this conversation? Why do you feel like you need to say anything? And why do you feel like you need to say what you're about to say? How can I say it for it to get to the why? Right? If you can think past, like, this is where disrespect comes into play. Word choice, right? And the same guys, they don't know how to, they don't know how to express emotion, so they feel like they got to put the tough guy persona behind it. Bitch, I love you. Like, you didn't have to call me because you called me a bitch. I take that as disrespect. You know, like, you could have just said you love me. Choose your words carefully. Same goes for like any communication between any people. A lot of people take things as disrespect, and that's something else that we're definitely going to have to talk about. Because in order for it to be true disrespect, the intention has to be there, and the boundary should have been set. If there was never a boundary set, then that person, giving that person a doubt, shadow of a doubt, that person didn't know that this was a boundary, this was a trigger, this was a sensitivity of yours, right? So before it jumps into disrespect, try to set the boundary, even with the stranger. It's like, look, I don't appreciate that. Don't do that to me. Don't say that to me. I don't accept that. And if they continue, now you're crossing into disrespect. Making that real simple, right? We'll talk about that later. But yeah, choosing your words carefully. What message do you want to convey? Hmm? What are the words that you are going to choose to say what needs to be said or what you want to say? What do you want from what's the reaction that you want from what you're going to say? And there's so many of them. The surface level ones is like, I want laughter. I want love, right? I want you to understand. I want to teach, right? But it's so many. Like, it's it's unnumerable. Can't number these things. Right? So choose your words carefully. Know why you want to say what you want to say, and then you can better choose what it is that you're going to say, what words you're going to use to say what needs to be said. Okay. This your man Trayvon Pratt with AIM, always improving the mind. As I just choked myself. Please put it in the comments, put it in the chat. Let me know if you're benefiting from this, any value you're getting from this, anything else that you would like to discuss. We have, it's Friday, go. We have 2 more days. We have 2 more days to hone in on this communication. Oh, hold on before we roll. Say tactfulness is so valuable, but I think the more immediate problem we have is a thin skin problem. It's almost impossible to speak now to a room full of people without possibly offending someone. Truth is, that has always been a possibility, right? But on the same scale, it's almost impossible to speak in a room without uplifting someone, without telling the truth or gaining someone else's perspective. It's almost impossible on the other side as well. So I take that as perspective. You're right, Dark Engine. And I love your word play, your word choice. Shout out to you. I appreciate you for being here. But I definitely see like it is high sensitivity right now. And that's why I'm like, I've been the one that been brash, blunt, and just said what needed to be said. That is an option. Like sometimes you got to know that the truth will offend someone. Sometimes offense is needed for because change doesn't happen without an emotion. People don't change until they feel it. People don't change until they feel something to where they are sparked to now act, right? The process is emotion, thought, action, result. Emotion, thought, action, result. You feel something, you have the thought, you make a decision, you act on it, and then you'll get the result from what you've done. So I think it's more so impossible for for it not it's somebody if somebody's going to be offended, it's okay. You still have realm over yourself to choose which words that you want to use to convey whatever the message is. If someone takes offense, that goes back to that earlier meme. I'm only responsible for what I say, not what you understand. I'm only responsible for what I say, not how you perceive it, right? But I am going to be one who can make it simple enough, right, for it to be understood. If I chose words carefully, right? If I took things into consideration, if I had a real purpose for saying what I said and I could stand on it, then I don't have a problem with speaking the truth from my perspective, especially if it's to get to a better result versus just beating somebody down or trying to offend. Sometimes we say stuff just trying to offend people. Sometimes we say stuff that has offended someone. So in response, they say something to try to offend us. I've been there. Again, when you tell the truth is hard. The truth is harsh, right? But the truth is simple and the truth can be accepted. Is usually on the one who's delivering it. So I've been one who gives the truth, it offends someone, they want to try to offend me. I don't take it personally, but within this communication, now we can discuss it. Or, after you get your emotions out, now, you know, trust me, I've been one. I told uh I told a woman that she lacked confidence before. And she said, "Why would you say that to me?" wasn't my place to actually point it out. She didn't ask me that. She wasn't there for coaching, right? It wasn't my place to point it out, but it wasn't false. It was the truth. So I could take accountability in me not being in that position or being the one that should have said it to you. And she took offense to it. But later on, she came to me and she said, you know what, you was right. And from there, we could have a conversation after, before the you was right, it was, well, you this. Let me point something out that I don't like about you. And it's like, I could apologize for interjecting, especially when you already knew. To see, this is also why you got me going now. This is also why the truth hurts, because most of the time people know the truth, but they're living a facade or they're trying to show otherwise. So when I pointed out that you lack confidence, I saw through your I saw through your image. I like completely just broke that barrier down without warning, without asking, without permission. That was the offense. The truth actually wasn't offensive. The offense was me interjecting and boom, just hitting you with it, right? Going back to word choice, I could have asked if I could say that. I could have asked like, can I say something real quick? Like I noticed something, you know, we was in mid conversation and like I could hear her voice shaking and all of that stuff. And I'm like, I just said, you lack confidence. And she like, huh? Like that had nothing to do with the conversation. Like while we was even talking, it was true, but it wasn't the right time. It wasn't my place. All of that stuff. So we can learn a lot and take accountability on our end for a lot of things in the communication realm. But I do agree that it is high sensitivity, and it's like everybody just wants to defend themselves. Well, when we get past that is when the work start happening. If you could take accountability for yourself, it usually shows other people that they can now take accountability for themselves. Hopefully, somebody will be able to perceive that. I don't mind apologizing, but I'm gonna only apologize for what was actually offensive. What did I actually do that I knew to be wrong or caused harm or got the reaction that I didn't want, or something along the lines of me? What did I do? I could apologize for it. I could take accountability for it. But I'm not going to shatter or shut myself to the truth, right? But I also got to have more discernment of who I'm going to say what to if it's my place. If you want to interject, please ask if you can. If it's denied, then let it be, right? Acceptance is a big part of this. And that's one of the main things that I'm working on. But I definitely appreciate it. Tactfulness is so valuable, but I think the more immediate problem we have is a thin skin. So ideally we all work on improving our tactfulness for sure. I figure the ideal person is inwardly insensitive, difficult to get offended, but outwardly insensitive, careful not to offend. Hmm. Let me read that again. Ideally, we all work on improving our tactfulness. All right. So I figure the ideal person is outwardly sensitive, difficult to get offended, but inwardly sensitive, careful not to offend. Mm. Oh, outwardly sensitive, careful not to offend. I think that too. I think that too. I think that's I mean, our human nature is like we do care. We teach ourselves not to care, right? And you ever hear somebody who say they don't care, they don't give a F or whatever. Most of the time it's because they care a lot, but haven't gotten either the same reaction or like some type of, the response they've gotten taught them, hey, in my experience, it's better just not to care. But usually they care. That's the human nature. I think the same thing. So I figured the ideal person is inwardly insensitive, difficult to get offended, but outwardly sensitive, careful not to offend. A lot of us are. We don't like a lot of us don't want to just go around hurting people, right? That's usually not the intention, even if it hits someone's triggers or sensitive areas. Most people aren't trying to offend. And the more in tune you are with yourself, the more you accept yourself, the less you'll be offended too. The more acceptance you have, the less offended you are. Because if somebody can call me, like I said it a while ago, like I could be an asshole. So somebody calling me an asshole, I know this about me, so it's not a offense. It's not a compliment either, but it's not an offense. So I'm like, okay, where was I an asshole to you? Now we're communicated, you know, because let me help you set the boundaries so that I don't offend you. That's me though. I don't expect everybody to be on that wave. I don't expect everybody to understand. Um, but that is part of my work, part of my purpose. Like I know boundaries need to be set, right? Set the boundary. Sometimes I will assist you in setting a boundary with me. I can't set your boundaries for you. I can set mine, but if you never set yours, then hey, again, I don't know what's offensive. I don't know what's disrespectful. I don't know. You got to let me know, right? All good stuff. I appreciate you, man. I love your perspective. We will be responding to you on the FMF page. It is a lot to read, but it's all good stuff. I do appreciate your perspective and keep on showing up, man. I want to hear more from you. I want to hear, I love your comments. Please, any inquiries, anytime that you want to actually talk, we'll be open to it. I'm open to it. And yeah, let's keep on working, man. We improving here at AIM, always improving the man. We working on communication this week, right? So all of these things put together creates a more effective communication, empathy, listening, right? Learning nonverbal cues. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. I love it. Oh well. You're awesome, man. Thank you for being here. So, learning nonverbal cues and expressions and how to deliver those, using your voice and your tonality, and now choosing your words. What words you're going to choose to convey the message that you want to say, right? All of this put together creates the effective communication. And it's a daily practice. It's something that you could always improve in and keep on trying. But you got it, you could do it, and we improve communication, then we improve the trust, and we improve the communities because we can speak to one another, trust one another, build with one another. There'll be less crime, right? There'll be more families, more unity, more help, less help needed. Hello? More resources, everything. And we could just start with communication. That's it for today. It's your man Trayvon Pratt. I'm signing off. Much love.